Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Innovation Insights, the podcast where we try to figure out how do we get innovation and cool new technologies to the market and thereby help raise the social good in the universe. So today I have with me a very special person. I've met him a couple of times. He's pitched our venture capital group, and he's also been just an outstanding mind opener. Unbelievable. His name's Antonio Patric Buchanan, and he is the founder and CEO of HelixPlus, a science discovery platform that you're going to hear about. And also, he is a longtime brand marketer who has a lot of savvy in the brand marketing space and has been instrumental in a lot of big name companies and engaging with customers. So, Antonio Patric, welcome.
Thanks, Jay. Good to be here.
So why don't you give us a quick little overview of who you are, what you're doing, and why what you're doing is so special?
Yeah, I'm one of the founders of a company called HelixPlus Entertainment. It's an AI-centric, science-based multimedia platform. If you think about it in terms of it includes video, podcasts, gaming, audiobooks, and a community all on one platform. And the reason why this whole thing has started is we did a significant amount of research with a museum, the oldest museum in the United States. It's the Franklin Institute. And part of doing that global research, there's a few things we found out. And one is there's about 200 million active science enthusiasts around the world.
Wow.
Yeah. But they're frustrated. So they have to go to a lot of different places. It's very fragmented in terms of how many places they need to go to get information. And then when they do get the information, as you can imagine, there's a lot of misinformation out there as well. And so we wanted a place for the curious people to go online, be entertained. I think that's a big part of it too, is that it doesn't have to be dry information that they're getting. It's very entertaining. But they get the ability to go out and find this information 365, 24/7. They can stay 30,000 feet or they can go as deep as they want to go in order to get their fix of science.
That's very cool. So, let's dive into this a little bit. You were actually working with the Franklin Institute and discovered a problem and then developed a technology to fix the problem. Is that right?
That's exactly right. I mean, when they were one of our clients. As you know, we had a branding agency and we were brought in to rebrand the museum both inside and out. So in that, we always start the process not with coming up with the creative ideas, but actually doing our due diligence in terms of looking at data points, talking to consumers, both qualitative and quantitatively as well, because we want to know what we're solving for.
Right.
And so we just don't want to make it up.
That's smart. It's funny because a lot of the marketing type shows you see and a lot of the programming makes you think, oh, somebody comes to a marketing agency and they go, well, we need you to redo our brand. And the marketing agency comes up with all these great ideas about talking to anybody.
Yeah, they go into it's like Mad Men. They go into a conference room and they just start throwing ideas out. And
Right.
It's not like that.
I've worked with entrepreneurs for a long time, and there's this program that the SBA has. I can't remember the name of it. It's something core, but what it is it's a customer discovery program where it's like a boot camp where they force people to go out and talk to 200 customers before they start building their lean startup or their MVP or anything. Go out and talk to the customers, because I've been guilty of this myself. Back in 2006, I created a platform for people that, I had talked to a lot of potential customers, but I didn't really understand the dynamics of the market. So I went in, I spent a lot of money, I built a company, and then I wasn't able to move it forward simply because I hadn't taken the really important step of knowing that community before I built the product.
Yeah, we wanted to find out where the frustrations were, if there were frustrations at all. So we spoke to somewhere between 11 and 12,000 consumers from around the world.
Wow.
We did some quantitative research.
That's more than 200.
Yeah. And we did, the US, certain countries in Europe, Latin America, and Asia as well. Found out some interesting things. So as we think about go to market, going from geography to geography, we also have the information of what works in the United States may not necessarily work in Mexico, or may not work in Japan, but we have the information of how to go to market.
Well, you're actually based in two companies. Am I right? You split your time
I
between
do.
Mexico and LA?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's helped a lot. What's happened is, because Helix Plus came out of the branding agency, we kind of rejiggered the branding agency. So now, instead of just handling, the strategy, then the branding and things like that, we've broken it out into three pieces. So there's branding, there's transformation, which is helping companies figure out, now that we know what the brand architecture is and things like that, is it a new product we need to deliver, a new service, a new company, a spinoff, things like that. And then the third piece is the venture piece. So helping them start it up, or if they're not going to start it up and we think it's a great idea, then we'll take that and members of the team will start working on turning it into a venture.
Wow. So that's kind of like the venture studio model where, investors will find an idea, find a team, and then put everything together and then launch the product out of the studio, which a friend of mine is doing in biotech right now, which is very, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We're having a good time. We're having fun doing that. But Helix is taking up most of the time now, because as you can imagine, to build something like that, but good times.
Yeah, give us your anticipated timeline for Helix Plus and what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about the founding membership, because I just became a founding member today and I'm on the wait list. And tell us how big your wait list is, because that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, our wait list is about 77,000 right now. The people that and it's literally been all organic. We've gone online and really asked questions like, what are you interested? Have you thought about, how many active volcanoes there are, things like that. And if you want to know more, this is the place for you to know it. And if you want truth in science, this is the place for you to get it. Because one of the main things on the platform is that we go through a very rigorous scientific review. And so we actually use one of our proprietary AI tools to input content that may be eligible to be on the platform. And let's say there's a score from 1 to 5. If it's a 4 or 5, it can get on the platform pretty easily. If it's a 1 to 2, it does not get on the platform. You'd be surprised how many 1 to 2s we get. And if it's a 3, then it goes to a live board who then makes decisions. And that live board are representatives from, we have representatives from NASA, from Thermo Fisher, from Barco, which is kind of the GE of Europe. And so we have NBC Universal. So we have some people there that make that decision on, does it get on the platform or not? And if it does, what caveats do we have to add to the equation so people understand this is somewhat true, but don't take all of it as true. It's something that gives you something to think about. And so there's that piece of it. The other piece of it is, we have a great team. Our team is we have people from Disney, from Hulu, from NBC Universal, from large branding agencies. Myself, I came out of Ogilvy. So I actually ran strategy for IBM and for American Express globally. You've met Paris, another founder who is I don't know if you know this, recently was named one of the most creative, inspirational women by the LA Times a few
Wow.
months ago.
I didn't know that.
And she ran all the creative development for Microsoft globally around the world for McCann. So we have a lot of people on the team that have gone through it, right? So they've built these types of platforms before. They have dealt with content and content negotiations before. So we're excited that, this is something new, but we wanted people with chops that could jump, had the experience, had the war wounds, and ready to go. We're launching in Q1 with our beta.
It's coming up fast.
Yeah, it's coming up fast. And then in Q2 in June, we're going to be launching the full product in France at Cannes.
Nice. So let me ask you this, innovation and technology is really cool. A lot of people are science curious and they don't want the aggravation of having to, go to a bunch of different places and decide whether what they're reading is actually truthful or not. So I see your approach, and I can see why you're doing it. How has the community been reacting to this? I know you've got a huge waiting list, so obviously there's some positive reactions. Are you getting any kind of negative reactions, or are there any challenges to you getting this forward?
Yeah, no, I think, there's an excitement about the community is a critical piece of this platform. We call them members. We don't call them subscribers. So where they have the ability to be actively involved, we share a lot of the times with them customer experiences and ask them, what do you think about this? How do you think we should move forward here or there? Once in a while, we'll even serve up specific content. Those number threes that I told you about between 1 and 5, we might take a number 3 and put it in front of the group and go, what
Wow.
do you think about this as well? Does this cut it? I had a really good discussion with somebody on our team about, do we handle science fiction? Is that something that we are willing to put on the platform? And we all got together and talked about it. And one of the things we realized is yes, because there is usually some foundation of truth in science fiction, but there's a lot of curiosity around that. And that's what we want. We want people to be curious.
No, it's amazing because I go back to when I was young and I was reading Jules Verne and Tom Swift, and so many of those things that seem like, an outlandish fictional event are now reality,
Yeah.
and they've been around. I mean, even think about Dick Tracy and his, little wristwatch that he
And
used
here
to
we
talk
are.
into. And
Yeah.
here we are. I remember in the mid 60s, I was at a science display in one of the first indoor malls in the country outside of Chicago. And I saw this incredible thing where people were looking into a screen and they were talking to somebody on the other screen and they were saying, this is going to happen someday. And now look at us. Here we here we are on a split screen podcast that's being broadcast over, dozens of different channels. So it is just amazing. And I think today so many people have ideas and they don't know how to encapsulate them or actually actionize them.
Yeah.
And you guys could actually help some of the entrepreneurs with that. Are you folks open to that, or how does
Absolutely.
how does that
Absolutely.
look for
I
you?
think that I'll give you an example that, you're fully aware, you do it for a living. There's a lot of people that are talking about AI, and it's AI for the sake of AI, right? So what does it deliver at the end of the day? And I think we have clients that from the branding side, this is, what am I supposed to do with this AI stuff? How does it integrate? Do I use it for just marketing? And we're like, no, it can be embedded into everything that you do, but it's a commitment to be able to do that. If you're going to do it, let's do it right, and let's map this out, how that's going to be. With us, for instance, on Helix Plus, AI is instrumental in everything we do, but it's a delivery system. So when you think about, if you go to Netflix or Amazon or something like that, and you want to find something to watch, you've gone through it. There's scroll,
Yep.
scroll, 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 scroll.
Yep.
We felt that,
It can be aggravating.
and it's aggravating. And so for us, it was really important to solve that experience, that negative experience. So when you get to Helix Plus, there's an AI tour guide that walks you through what you want, actually curates it. They'll go, Jay, what are you interested in today? And they will pull down from everywhere on the platform, whether it's video or gaming or whatever that is, and bring it to you as well. Or she'll ask, Jay, do you want a surprise today of what a lot of people are thinking about in the world of science? And you can go, yeah. But not only does it do that, but when you're watching something, and we all go through it, and you have a question, something happens. A while ago, I was watching a documentary on this couple. They're called volcano chasers. And every time an active volcano erupts, they put their gear on, they get on planes, they head to that active volcano. And I was just curious. It was kind of like, how many active volcanoes are there around the world? And I had to go on Google and I had to go through a lot of different places. This won't be the case. While you're watching it, you can go, Astra, how many active volcanoes are there in the world? And she'll answer you while you're watching it as well.
Wow. That is
Or
so
you'll have,
cool.
yeah, and you'll have the ability to also engage with the community as well while it's going on. So we think what we're trying to do is solve the problem of not only the fragmentation and the misinformation, but the frustration in just the act of getting this information as well.
I see an important aspect of what you're doing that could be very helpful as well, because a lot of the problems that I see with AI, I know a lot of people who are totally immersed in it
Hmm.
and they end up going down rabbit holes,
Yeah,
right? And the next thing you know, you're spending 2 hours doing something that's totally non-productive against your original intent. But the way you're doing it, you're taking them down. You're not taking them down alternate paths. You're just helping them hone in on the path that they're on. So I can see how that could be very helpful, because if I'm watching a show about volcanoes, I don't want to start getting into like earthquakes and all kinds of different things.
exactly.
I want to learn more about volcanoes. So that's very interesting, because I think it's important as we dive into this whole world of AI that we remain conscious of, what life is really about. And it's not, spending all your time talking to ChatGTP or somebody.
Right.
It's getting out and experiencing the world. And I can see how your tool could actually help that.
And to your point, we have something, we're building another thing, which is a science-based knowledge graph. And what that's going to do is, again, if you're on any other streaming site, they kind of look at what you've watched and they make recommendations. We're taking it a bit further. And so we not only look at what you've watched on the platform, but we also look at your activity, if you allow us to do that, anywhere on the web. And so and feeds that information to the knowledge graph, so that it's actually making recommendations based on other outside exterior actions that you have, plus what you're doing on the platform as well. So it's really individualized and personalized for Jay, not just there's a group of people that like this, so we think you should do it. It's very specific to you.
Awesome. So, these are quick, hard hitting podcasts. I don't like to spend, hours of time, although
Yeah.
I probably could with you. But I already have a couple ideas of my own. But one question I always like to ask founders, especially, is what can this community, the Redtail Innovation Insights community, what can it do to help you move this project along or help you with your innovations?
I think that one is we would love to get people involved in testing. The more we test, the better this will be. The more people are engaged, the better this will be. Right now, we're going through developing a community strategy. And so there's some questions that we have, yeah, we could have it be completely moderated by AI, but we're challenged with that. We think that there are times that people need to speak to a live body to be able to do it. How involved would people want to be? We want to make sure from a security perspective as well. How much security do you need around this? And so I think as we, particularly with community, because this is probably one of the most important things that we do with this, is you can't build a community strategy without talking to a community. So I think that's where some help could come in, just providing some access to people outside of the wait list, just to answer some of these really important questions.
Well, that's a smart idea. And when I think about your community, I actually think about not just consumers of science information, but also teachers,
Yes.
historians,
Yes.
scientists themselves. I mean, I can see this being a community where you can start getting a little more involved. I mean, STEM has been, kind of a buzzword around education for a long time,
Yeah.
but it seems like you're almost making STEM real as opposed to just another acronym that we're trying to use to further education. So I think that's very cool. And I see a huge application for that. So
There is, the plan is in year 2 or 3 that there would be a Helix Plus Foundation. And the reason for that is there's a lot of kids that just don't have access to this kind of information and things like that. And a lot of teachers that need help in making it interesting and fun and things. So the plan is to either at a very deep discount or actually free provide some of these academic institutions to be able to take it into the classroom and use the games or the podcasts or the videos to get these kids attention, because you've seen the data when you look at, for instance, in the US from science and math, we're underperforming.
mhm,
And I think it's not because of a lack of trying from the teachers. It's because it's really hard to keep kids' attention these days.
boy.
Yeah. So, we're starting with adults, but in year 2 and 3, particularly K through 12, when we can get them early and get them
Yeah,
interested, we want them to be able to have this.
sweet. Well, Antonio Patric, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciated your time. I love what you're doing. We're going to keep in tabs and make sure that Helix Plus becomes a great success. I personally will do what I can to help you move forward. And thank you so much for being on.
Jay, thanks so much. This is a great platform that you have to share with your viewers. So this is awesome. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to them.
You're very welcome. And we're going to have a contact slide come up at the end of this. So when people watch this or listen to it, they're going to be able to see and hear, how to reach you. But, Helix Plus is pretty easy to find unless you get it confused with the mattress brand.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was great having you on.
Thanks, Jay. Take care.